The NoFap journey is one that is riddled with traps and triggers designed to convert your desperation into relapses, and in some cases you might have even paid money to find some kind of shortcut that will get you there sooner. But you cannot pay someone else to fight your battles for you and expect yourself to gain the experience, and so you relapse again and lose yourself in the loop of trying and failing. This was me. I don't want this to be you. Simple. Now let me explain how I changed my life. My journey starts around 2 years ago, when I thought the same thing that you're thinking right now. I want to start NoFap. Great, I thought. So I bombarded myself with articles, videos, and strategies from everyone who had supposedly achieved the very goal that I wanted to achieve in life. I say supposedly because I'm never going to ask these people for proof, because that might be the most awkward conversation of my life. There are multiple lessons that I learned throughout my 2 years that got me to where I am now, at the end of the tunnel. And I'm going to share those with you today. Now there are also many mistakes that I made along the way that I'm going to make you aware of so that you don't make them as well. So stage 1 I call throwing at the wall. And this was month 0 to month 6. So the first couple of months of this journey for me were very much relying entirely on my desire to achieve this, carrying me through like the god of discipline that I am. This failed miserably because I'm not the god of discipline, and made the situation a lot worse. So that is lesson 1. Don't rely on your ambitions alone to help you achieve anything in life, because it won't work. Changing the way that you see yourself is great and all, but and positive self-talk is useful, but it will not stop the chemical urges that you have. At least it didn't for me. If it does for you, then I guess you can show off, but it didn't for me. In that 6-month period, I shit you not, I tore through more tissues than ever before. Honestly, my little side lesson would have been buy stocks in Kleenex, because I would have been minted off of that. Anyways, the reason I struggled so much with this, as I would later realize on in the year, is because I had absolutely nothing stopping me from relapsing, and absolutely everything pushing me toward it. What I did notice though, is that by identifying myself as somebody who was on NoFap, I started to notice the reasons why I should be stopping. I began to recognize how awful I felt after relapsing, and how terrible my energy and focus were compared to when I was free. I felt like shit, but it was the best feeling I could have felt in that moment, because I knew that it was right and that I needed to keep going. My biggest mistake here was absolutely not planning out how I was going to do anything, and I beg that you avoid this mistake in literally everything you do, because regardless of how small it is, poor planning will always lead to a poor performance. My other lesson from this is to start journaling, and I know it's a bit boring, but at least take notes every day, because you have to become aware of how you are feeling and progressing in your life, so you can see mistakes before they become a problem. And so you can find joy in the journey more than you do the decision. So, fast forward about 6 months, and we get to stage 2, which I call seeing what sticks. And that is from month 6 to about month 18. So, little me was sitting there in his room, so confused about how his life didn't change just because he wanted it to be different. In that moment, I realized, that he actually needed to force these changes into reality, or else they were never going to happen. So I learned all of the strategies and implemented each of them one by one. I listened to YouTubers, I got inspired by people who would inspire me to follow their ideas and sign up for their stuff, and started to make some genuine progress. Wait, no, just thinking about that. No, that was a lie. See, that is the mistake that I want to highlight here. Self-improvement content arguably tripled the time that it took me to be happy and to be free from this addiction. Tripled. Being overwhelmed with the amount of garbage thrown at you not only directly causes relapses to happen, but It makes you feel even worse now because some of the content is often hyper focused on viewing people who have beaten NoFap as high value people, and everyone else is complete losers. Disclaimer, they aren't, by the way. As someone who has beaten it, I am still a loser. And at least half the people who have are too. It's just another marketing tactic. My lesson that I learned here was found pretty much toward the end of this stage, and it instantly moved me to the real stage of progress. If you're gonna learn, you need to do it one step at a time. That's why I keep saying it. Content is designed specifically to overwhelm you. So how do you prevent that? You need to type what you want, click a video, take notes, close the video, action the evidence. That's it. Don't get caught in the trap of wasting time cycling through content. It will get you nowhere, and it'll actually end up taking longer to get to where you want, even though you're apparently learning. I actually just remembered one that makes me laugh so much, because I remember when I was younger, there was a method that I found, and it was like, just hold your breath when you get urges and your body will lose the urge. Well, yeah, that's because you're running out of oxygen, and I remember seeing that and I was like, oh, that's a crazy idea. That's a great idea. And so I tried it, and then I immediately realized how stupid it was. So I can comfortably say that I've done all the research possible on NoFap at that point in my journey. That being said, there is one thing that I cannot recommend enough, and that is a blocker. So now I use a blocker called Cold Turkey. Personally, I think that's the best one, so I will link it in the video, in the description. This was the tool that I used, and with this tool and my new mindset, it brought me immediately into stage 3. And that stage is getting stickier things to throw. You can see the analogy I'm going for here. And that took me up to, well, present day. So I realized that this was not a journey that a video or an article could fix, and that I had to completely analyze my behavior and change it in ways that made me happy. Not whoever was on the screen I was watching, because by watching videos and doing what they're telling you, what you're doing, you're making them happy, you know? So I talked about this blocker, so download it or anything similar, and basically staple it to any of your devices so that the content is completely blocked. Cold Turkey isn't on phones, so for that one I use a different one called Purge, and I'll link that one as well. But it's an important lesson that I learned. With the tools set in place, I would then highlight every time that I relapsed and understand what triggers and behaviors led to that exact moment where I caved into those urges. The thing is, I never found a trigger that was having a positive impact on my life. I made it to the other side of this addiction by removing all the unrelated things from my life that were leading to it, basically. That way, it had no control over me outside of its natural urges. So social media, influencers, keeping my phone on me in bed, video games, all of these things were either changed or completely removed from my life, and they had incredible benefits stacked on top. So eventually I ran out of things to optimize in my life, which is a bit of a humble brag. And I had only the natural urges to worry about, which is a lot easier to deal with. This is where my final mistake came into play. I had a lot of work put into this and felt so close to being free, but kept relapsing at times, and it made me feel incredibly upset because I thought I was effectively a failure at this point. Don't be hard on yourself. Remember how far you've come, but do not neglect how far you have yet to go. Both are incredible things. The best way I found to deal with this is by actively recognizing any urges that you have, but completely refusing to take it any further than recognition. Most people would try to tell you to just ignore them altogether, and I don't like that at all. I'll be honest, I don't like it. It is a natural urge, and so you can't just ignore it. It would be like getting thirsty and being told to just ignore it. I mean, you can, but it's very stupid to do so. I can happily say that this stage has led me to the freedom that NoFap advertises, and I have definitely noticed benefits in my life. I believe that these benefits are very much real and definitely come from the journey, but not directly. By removing all of the things around the problem, I was able to cultivate a level of discipline and self-awareness that I never really saw myself getting to. That being said, there are direct benefits as well. I feel a lot more confident and energetic now that there isn't a dopamine leash around my neck. This was my journey. I hope the lessons and mistakes that I experienced will help you reach the end of your journey sooner. If you have any questions, leave a comment, because I guarantee you the answer will help people, not just yourself, but probably a lot of other people too. And if you haven't already, subscribe. And if you have, great choice, by the way. Now go. Make your future self proud.